Good morning. Today we're going to talk about 3 different areas in the book, Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. And we're going to talk about what to expect, the typical experiences, relationships, and chronic illnesses. And then we'll see if we want to go any further or not. What to expect. Kind of have a glare. See if I can't fix that. Any better? A little bit better. Okay. What to expect. Clearing emotional patterns with essential oils is very gentle. Changes are often subtle because the body is able to release the programming in the same way it came in, one step at a time. This is the reason for the repetition. The length of time is immaterial. You can move at your own pace. Whether you take 7 weeks or 7 months to clear the core issue is up to you. Learning how to shift from a negative to a positive emotion makes the changes permanent. So that's awesome. You will find yourself responding to situations rather than reacting. There is often a sense of inner peace, a deep relaxation, and an opening, allowing your body to breathe. You will notice more flexibility, which is evidenced by the way of handling situations. Emotions, memories, and being aware surface when you are able to handle them. The clearing process starts with a painful emotion like rejection and moves into a positive state. While the statement, I accept all that I am, can bring you all the yes, but responses in the internal dialogue committee. The end result is a state of acceptance. As you continue the repetition process, you eventually erase the old cellular response pattern and replace it with a new one of acceptance. Our challenge is to express love regardless of what life presents. The game is survival with our greatest fears as the stage. Fear is the cause of emotional patterns, also known as psychological issues, which more of a challenge than others. Some patterns are universal, while others are more common for certain people than others. There is a common denominator among the groups of people, and it is reflected in their body shape. Hence, a stereotype of fat people being jolly and skinny people being more serious. Body shape is determined by the gland, organ, or system of the body that is most dominant. This dominant gland controls not only the body shape, but the basic personality traits. Emotional patterns are stored in the body with major life changes. The heater just kicked in, yay, because it is a little chilly in here. Let's see. Life challenges correlating with each other's dominant glands that determines his or her body type. How to determine body type and the main issues associated with each type are found in the points of connections. The following typical experiences show the effect clearing the emotional patterns has on its life. Typical experiences. Anger, that's the first one. Lane is a 26-year-old man whose dominant gland and body type is thymus. The core issues or major challenges of the thymus body type are judgment and control, with anger being the dominant emotional response. He began using essential oil blend of purification on the liver alarm points, and the emotional points of the frontal eminences 7 times a day, along with feeling the emotions of anger, then laughter, and making the statement, "My direction is clear." In less than a week, he experienced his variety. It's funny when you can laugh at your own mistakes. In less than a week, he experienced his favorite guitar being knocked over and the case chipped while in band practice. His normal response to situations like this would be intense anger and premeditated everyone in his environment, and continued for at least a week before the solution could begin to surface. This time, he walked into the house and told his mother he was angry because his guitar had been chipped. Within an hour, he was out in the garage. He found some black paint and repaired the chip spot to where it was almost undetectable. This incident has been found by similar situations where he has been able to quickly move out of the anger response and even bypass the anger to reach the viable solution that works for everyone. Once he finished using the purification oil for 3 weeks, the next emotion, frustration, which was stored in the common bile duct, surfaced. And outside, the frustration is accomplishment. The way out is I move beyond my limitations. Having finished using lemon oil 7 times a day for 3 weeks, he was then ready to deal with the core issue of the thymus body's type, fear of failure. I think we all have that. The other side of the fear of failure is unfoldment, and the way out is I accept growth. The alarm point is the thymus. It is the thymus, and the essential oil is peppermint. Creating the emotional patterns with the way out and essential oils has allowed Lane to transform core issues and changing emotion and responses he had been dealing with his entire life. He has been able to release intricate and new patterns into his being, making his life easier and happier as a result. Now, the next part is relationships. Molly is a 43-year-old woman who has done a lot of personal growth work, including psychotherapy for years. While she thoroughly understood the dynamics of her relationships, she was unable to break the emotional patterns that bound her. She started using lavender to clear her deep-seated abandonment issues, along with the statement, "I learned from all life experiences." Shortly thereafter, she found herself in a situation with her boyfriend where she felt compelled to express her feelings rather than continue to keep them bottled up inside her. The next morning, she felt fabulous and self-empowered. Her boyfriend wanted to end the relationship. For the first time in her life, she was able to say and mean, "If that's what you really want and need for yourself, I'll accept your decision." In spite of the fact that she missed him and knew it was the right decision, this was the first time she was able to go through a breakup without engaging her abandonment issues and begging for her lover to come back. She attributed it all to clearing her emotional pattern and abandonment. Now, chronic illness. These little issues, little stories that they're having here is kind of interesting. But how do you know which oil you need to use when these problems come up? How do you know which oil and what to say? Maybe the book will tell us that. Let's read and find out. Chronic illness. The body is a wonderful indicator of what is going on in a person's life. It reflects physically what is occurring emotionally, in spite of what the mind does to rationalize and ignore reality. Tatiana, some person's name, Tatiana, Tatiana body responded by forming visible tumors. The initial one appeared in 1989 on the bottom of her foot. She sought conventional medical help and had a tumor on a portion of her foot removed. Being a professional dancer, she realized that was a wake-up call and resulted in her living a bad marriage. In 1996, a number of years later, when she noticed a couple tumors on her left leg, she realized she needed to get to the cause of the problem rather than just treat the symptoms. This was the beginning of her journey into personal growth and psychotherapy. When the tumors appeared the third time in 1999, Tatiana identified a common thread. Each time the tumors appeared, Tatiana was in a relationship with a man when she had been given up her identity. In the past, she had left her relationship knowing that in spite of emotional pain, it was what she had to do to survive. With this, Tatiana had another tool and knowledge in how to use essential oils to release deep emotional patterns. She recognized a number of related emotional patterns and used to correspond essential oils and clearly procedure. Tatiana was sporadic with her use of some of the oils, with little noticeable differences except for two: release for fear of love not being unconditional, and lavender for her fear of abandonment. When she used lavender, Tatiana was amazed to feel her abandonment pain dissipate. I can't read. This was the first time she was able to leave a relationship and feel whole. She got through the entire breakup without crying and going back on her she knew was right for her. Daniel, the man she was in relationship with, initiated the breakup because Tatiana was giving too much of her energy to him, and he could see that it was impacting her healing. She is drawing him in to complete herself and coming up against her fear of commitment. As soon as Tatiana got home, she began applying release and lavender and saying the forgiveness prayer every time she thought about Daniel. She did the prayer, She did the prayer and the oils approximately every hour and was amazed at how she slept that night, as well as how easily she got through the next 3 days. The forgiveness prayer Tatiana used was by Dr. Roberta Herzog, Herzog. It is reprinted by permission. See resources for additional information. Now, tomorrow we'll talk about the law of forgiveness, abundance, and ready for change. This is getting interesting. Now, I just need to figure out how to use which oils you're supposed to use when you have these different problems. Not that everybody's going to have the same problems these people in the book had, but when you have your own problems, you can figure out what oils you need, and the book's supposed to help us with that. So when we find that out, then I can start using them for me and then helping you or other people that might want help. Anyway, comment any questions you might have. Tell me what you think. And I guess tomorrow we'll continue on. And we'll see what happens. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow and hope you have a wonderful day. Stay warm. Ta ta.